Okay. Now see this. There are two scenarios we should know.
Yeah,
Why I'm
the
trying to make you understand. Why I'm trying to make you understand this Node.js. If it is an UI5 application, there are a very little use cases that will be having it, where the Node.js would be applied as a middleware to connect to a backend server. First of all, we should know the concept of why this case is required. What it is doing it first of all. Then we'll choose it. Why it is required? It is not required much in UI5, and why it is required more in the other BTP services where the JavaScript is not supported properly. Now I'll tell you, the Node.js layer is basically helping you to just modify the data set which is coming from the backend server. Okay. I'm just giving a very simple example. Let's assume it in UI5, you are going to display a list.
and
Okay.
also, sorry, like the thing that UA5 cannot perform, that kind of an example, if you can give, that would be helpful. Node.js, see, modifying the
Okay.
data, all these things we can do it in UI5, I think so.
Yeah, you can do it. Now I'll tell you, you're going to display some sort of list. The list of, let's say, sales order data, sales contract data you would like to display on a UI5 list actually. But there is a twist I'm giving it in this entire process. The twist is, you are going to display some sales contract or sales order. Each and every sales order is having some batch details. Okay. Now each and every line item is having so many batch information. There is a batch master is there. Now, in that batch master, what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply some rules top of it. Rules in the sense what? There are some certain contracts can only able to managed by some sort of vendor. Let's say, as an example, you are basically created a contract and you are only eligible to maintain or manage those sort of sales order. Or let's say I am a separate, I'm again onboarding a separate vendor who are also able to eligible to manage some specific vendors. But now the point is, those informations I'm going to set up in a rule which I'm going to use business rule as a service inside the BTP. Understand my point? Because now I can integrate a rule based mechanism inside my ABAP entire process, like by maintaining some table. Under that I can maintain the business profiles, and based on that I can create some conditions and create some logics. Based on that logic, my data can be also performed. It is not like that above said it is not possible, but to make it much more flexible, because if I put some conditions or if I put some logic in the ABAP program level, if I would like to modify it today or tomorrow, I need to again process through development to quality, quality to stand like your pre-production, then to production. All this movement has to be gone through, and it has to be tested thoroughly in each every individual system to make a minor changes. But that logic, if I'm trying to make it much flexible in a business rule available in the BTP as a service, I'm saying I'll be creating some rules here in the business rules, and I'll be applying the business rules top of the data that you are sending from the app. You're getting my point. Now, if I want to do that, I need to consume the business rule APIs top of the data, whatever it is coming from the backend. Let's say I have called a OData service from the UI5 to get the list of data of the contract or with the batches and everything. Then I don't wanted to put again rewrite some conditions on my UI5 again, because UI5 if I put some logic or conditions, the problem again it comes like, if any change is required tomorrow, development to quality to pre-production to production, then only I can move it to production system. But I wanted to create something in my hand which I can independently manage it without passing through all the movement cycle, because I need to involve testing team for that, functional team for that, development team specifically for that. I don't want to make this. I want to create a diagram or an architecture, the logic, because the logic may change. Today, one partner is basically managing it. Tomorrow, the other partner will be managing it. The person's ownership would be changed. It may be changed day by day, or might be weekly once, or twice in a week, or basically, or a month, like yearly 2 times, might be happening. So what we are approaching the solution, we are calling a OData service to the above. We're calling OData service from the UI5, getting the list of contracts data. We are passing the contract data to the business rule. How we are passing it? We are calling a business rules API from the UI5 application, and there we are basically passing the entire data. Now that entire data, we are writing some conditions. If this particular is the ownership and those things, actually I'm trying to consider into a Node.js application, because I don't want to write the condition inside my UI5 only because of this particular movement cycle I need to follow. I have just take out that conditional piece inside a node layer, deployed into BTP. Inside the BTP, if I deployed it today, if they ask me to change it, boss, modify this logic to this to that, the person has changed. There are some changes happened. Then I need not to touch my core UI5 code. I'll
Yes, you
only
can
take.
have multiple controllers, right? You can have multiple views or like design logic. You can make it different sections in the even in the UI5, right? If that
You
is
can do it. You can do it. But if a new person completely came and if you are just going to put some like new business logic top of it, you need to rewrite the code, right? Because now there are two conditions to be applied. Let's say there are some two logics I have given. Think about in that scenario. Tomorrow asking you to add one more logic top of the data layer. You are filtering with this thing. Now tomorrow I'm giving apply that condition also. Then you need to modify it definitely, right? You can make it dynamic up to a certain point, but the logics cannot be made dynamically, right? You need to apply a new logic top of it. If some logics are integrated, tomorrow it is taking a decision, it comes under an enhancement, right, in a few any of your application. But if you're going right, I'm talking about like the basic example. That's a use case I'm talking about. Basic example, if some sort of area where you need not to rewrite your code, and that code, if you take it, don't want it to pass through a proper all cycles, you can keep inside the Node.js layer, which is much handy in front of you. You can modify the changes and you can deploy it without affecting the other cycles. So then you can take a choice of your Node.js. But again, as I said, there are very limited opportunity and limited use cases would be there to integrate the Node.js layer. There are few use cases you'll be getting it to integrate with these business rules or the other BTP services wherever it is required. You're getting my point, what the concept I'm trying to talk about. Like
yeah.
if you're using Node.js, those things would be basically it's a separate piece altogether, which is not hampering your regular process, and it can be automatically easily actually you can modify any point in time, whatever it is required for you. Getting my point?
Okay.
Okay. Now, because why I'm saying this, let's say you are just putting the business logics using business rules. Tomorrow, if you think no, I don't find the business rules, or let's say you're doing some prediction as an example. You're doing a prediction using some let's say data intelligence tool in SAP. That tool is basically giving an API. Tomorrow you said no, the data intelligence tool is not correct. It is not giving a proper predicted value. You need to modify to let's say Google data analytics part. Then you will be integrating and the API will be changed, right? Or tomorrow, if you're planning to use a different third party, a good UI prediction tool, then that also will be changed. So those changes and modifications, if you integrate with a Node.js as a separate layer, that integration would be much like easier way to move it to production system. If you would like to try also trial and error, also you can maintain it at as you can deploy to your Cloud Foundry sub account within a command. Then it automatically reduces the time of the all testing phases, whatever normal cycles are having it. It will be saving some time. You're getting my point. Some processes which you wanted to take it separately as a unit, you can run on the Node.js layer to
Okay.
bifurcate that process.
Yeah.
But that is one of the use cases which is a very limited uses in the UI5. But to learn this, it will be having so many other windows open for you on the BTP developer point of view. As a BTP developer, we are not assuming that you're only a UI5 expert. There are so many UIs, there are so many other services also available which might you are not getting the exposure right point in time. Tomorrow you will get it. Tomorrow you when you'll be having the BTP certified, then tomorrow your client or your organization will ask you to evaluate some of the other services. Where I'm talking about example of SAP conversational AI as a bot. Chatbot platform does not support any JavaScript. Now you are getting basically a backend data, but you need to modify something, or you need to remove something, or whatever you would like to do it. How where will you do it? You need to have a middleware. There is no other go actually for you. For not introducing this one. Getting my point? That's one use case. Number two, if you would like to use any of the build process automation in that area, if you'd like to do an API trigger top of it, you should be using this Node.js layer as a middleware. So these things, why I'm trying to make you understand is that you will be feel the you will feel the usage when you'll be doing some more exercises over BTP with the other services actually. Then
Okay.
you'll get to know, okay, I know at least how to create a Node.js in my local system. And as because this this server.js is nothing actually, it is just give you an option. It is just bifurcating. You are calling by giving this line, you are coming to the Node.js. After that, whatever you would like to do in their world can be written. And after that, whatever you want to give is basically a formatter in UI5. In formatter, what you used to do? Once you get a data, we used to call the formatter function, and the formatter function gives me the ultimate output, whatever the format you're doing it. Exactly same thing here. It's a formatter. Formatter also middleware only. It's a middleware which is deployed into a separate platform. That's it. It is the formatter is basically called by the formatter name. Here it will be called by this function to get understand. You can create multiple formatter function like this. One, two, how many you'd like to do it. Getting my point?
Yeah.
And it is much capable than a formatter, because formatter here, because here also you can let's say you can also pass the entire payload of an UI5 and do the post from here. Getting my point? Like in this, right now I'm getting some details, but you can pass some details also with some. I'll show you the next class. Like you can pass the entire payload and you can call the payload from here, and based on the payload you can also call here some other OData services or any REST APIs or any whatever you would like to call. So
Okay.
yeah.
Actually, I was thinking like when you're saying about MTA applications like multi-target, I mean Node.js, all these things, I was thinking like you can access them without you query and UI5 the OData service through this Node.js.
You can do that, but again, whenever it is coming, you can call a OData service also by doing an AJAX call. That you can do it, but the problem, whatever I'm saying, because one Tohid has asked a question, no, like how do you connect to an OData service if it is having a cloud connector in between? Then I told you, if you're having a cloud connector in between, if you're having a cloud connector in between, if you are creating a local Node.js like this, you won't be able to connect directly like that, because you need to change the proxy type to on-premises to internet. That's a one rule. Otherwise, you need to deploy the Node.js into the same VPN machine to access the OData service. But tell me one thing, why will do that? They'll be very, because if I'm able to call the OData service from the UI5 itself, why will I call inside the Node.js? There's no required. No, it's not required there.
As you said, like BTP is used across multi, I mean, it's not with only dedicated to SAP. So,
Okay, yeah, that is true. So that we can also call inside UI5 also. Like, see, I mean, UI5 does not support only the OData method to call, right? We are also able to introduce AJAX call and all. But I mean, your point is correct. So you are saying like, if I would like to integrate to a multi-target based application, when it comes to multi-target based application concept, I can create two type of applications, right? One is a client facing application, like the UI5 application. I can also create in the same business application studio, I can also create a normal Node.js application. I'll not add any UI module into it. Getting my point? So that's up to completely my choice. Actually, I can also create an express module also inside that inside the MTA. But as the business application studio given you one type of UI element to add it. Like if you see, whenever you come to Business Application Studio, once you created a like multi-target application, it is asking you to add the app router configuration. Next, it is going to tell you like what is the UI module you can use it. So the UI module you are using it right now, Fury. That's the only thing they have given it right now in Business Application Studio. Now, if you talk about a multi-target based application concept in general, if you think that I have created basically here a node application, right? In my in inside this is my directory. Now, if I would like right now what I'm running it, I'm running a server.js file. I can use one more HTML5 application inside this. That HTML5 application should be my front end screen. And that front end screen, I can also consume some of the data services in the server.js. I can call OData services also. I can display it. So it is flexible in terms of adding multiple UI, but when it comes to Business Application Studio, it is giving us flexibility to use Fury as the one UI template. But in overall, if you think a multi-target application can support a different type of UI modules connecting to a different data server. But as you are choosing UI5 as the UI module, I can consume still different OData services. It might be from a SAP, it might be from a Ajax call based any Google services or any REST API services. But for that, I will not use a normal OData service call. I'll be rather using a Ajax call to call it. Getting my point?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the point of to conclude this, what I'm trying to say is, whenever we are using MTA based application, the MTA based application always supports you to add multiple UI inside the single app. Once I talk about the multiple UI, I can add multiple UI elements like inside one application. I can add two or three UI5 projects also. And while deploying this, it is I need to choose one options which one to be configured as my default one, and I can deploy it. But if you're talking about a normal multi-target based application, apart from the Business Application Studio, you can create a normal HTML based application. There is no UI5 concept inside. A normal HTML application having an HTML page, and it is having basically a node module installed, and you can that also you can deploy into your BTP Cloud Foundry as an MTA based application, but just by adding this mta.yml file and the access security.json, then the application also can be deployed. So I'm trying to say about is there are two different UI modules, Fury, this normal HTML. It might be other like technologies also, but that is flexible for the MT based application, the UI module part. You can add or carry anything, but it can be also consume the data services to other, like it might be an SAP data services, or it might be your ABAP on cloud, it might be on your let's say Google Cloud, whatever you can call it. But it again, when it coming to a UI5 based application, how will you call? You'll be calling by an Ajax call. If your normal HTML5 application, you'll be calling either like HTTP request call or something like that. So it depends upon how you would like to call. But the flexibility point in time, it is actually flexible to call any data services or any other data services or REST API services from the application.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I'll be creating the next application, there I'll be adding an HTML module also top of it. So then I'll show you. I am creating a normal HTML page. Inside this only, I'll be adding an HTML module, and I'll show you that application I'll be deploying into BTP. Now what BTP is giving to me, it is specific after deploying it. Once I read this, it is giving me some data, right? But there I'll be also creating an index.html file. The index.html file, I'll be designing something, one or two pages. Then I'll show you that that particular page is running independently, and it will be consuming the same data from coming from here. So that also an application. It's an MTA based application, but with a different UI module. Getting my point?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but one thing, remember one thing. See, Node.js is not only to manipulate or manage the JavaScript code. This is one of the use cases of Node.js as a middleware. You can create a front end application also using Node.js. Okay, like how UI5 does. UI5 is having its own set of libraries, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, in Node.js also, you can create a normal application by
O-
putting some HTML5 screen and all.
Okay, maybe we have taken that path, so it would be
Yeah.
a
So
different.
I'll show you. So it depends actually, but the thing is like again, it's like if you are building a, let's say if you are going to build a React application,
Mm.
there also you'll be using this Node as on the, because React also a kind of a server side coding only, right? So at least I'm trying to make you a flavor of how server side programming works actually, because whenever you are working on business application studio, you are taking the help of that, but you are not utilizing it. You are again doing the same UI5 coding only. I wanted to take out that piece out here and try to make you understand how a normal server side coding works and how you can create a small design also using that. Then later point in time, if you get an opportunity, never knows, you will be doing some of the developments later point in time in Node.js itself. You
Okay.
know, there is some HANA connector is there in Node.js as a plugin. If somebody wants to create an OData service from the HANA queries, also you can able to create something here. There are so many possibilities are actually more nowadays. There's enhancing also, but never know what it will come. That's what I'm just trying to make you understand. At least if you have some confidence how to create a Node.js application, how what is the server.js file, how it works, it will make you some more confidence later point in time once you get some application.
Okay.
Rahul, what I'm understanding, UFI and Node.js, whatever we develop with the help of the UFI, after that it will move to production. Okay, if any changes, it will again tactic job. But in
Hmm.
Node.js, we will directly change, just like you said, formatter, what we want the data, we can mm, make it and use it.
Hmm.
That is correct, what I'm understood.
That is exactly correct. That is one piece of it. Definitely, because whenever you are trying anything as a middleware, the concept of middleware is an as a component actually. That component always plays a vital role whenever, because it is a flexible component. Because if you would like to modify any logic or anything, that you can independently do it without hampering your application, and you can deploy it by using some command and you directly deploy it to a cloud like your BTP account. That's one of the use case of it. Second use case of it, like the Node.js application, whenever we develop, it is not only serving a purpose of modifying some data or as a middleware always. There are one more also use case in a broad level SAP, sorry, our Node.js is provided for a server side coding. Let's say today you don't want to use SAP data services. You don't want to use your this also your ABAP database also. You want to create one application which runs end to end on a node layer with a with a HTML5 script, and the backend database you'll be using either MongoDB or as an example in our BTP also available Postgres database. Okay, you are not touching ABAP and OData service. We got some requirement like this from a client. They are expecting, okay, I don't want to, I'm not, I don't have that much money to purchase ABAP on cloud. I don't have an infrastructure to run a ABAP server, but I need a small application. I'm okay to pay some instances for this Postgres, and I'm okay to use Node.js, because Node.js I can run independently without anything, and I'm okay to deploy the application into my cloud trial account. They're saying me like that, or cloud my production account. I'm okay to pay 87 USD for 1 GB runtime. You build my application. Now, in that scenario, what you will do? In that scenario, you will be creating a Node.js application. You'll be creating basically a database of Postgres in your BTP cloud. Inside the Node.js, you can consume the BTP like Postgres database. You can do a connectivity. once you do the connectivity, then what you will do, it will create a normal HTML5 page inside your Node.js application, and you'll be consuming the data from the HTML5 application, a normal card operation. Getting my point?
Yeah.
That's a separate, completely separate use case using Node.js. So the possibility point of view, there are the possibility for a Node.js is so many areas you can use it. But the concept what I'm trying to show you here now, whatever I have just now today shown you is as a middleware, where you are getting some data, you can also modify some data, or you can just pass through something. Now in the next class, whatever I'll be showing it to you, I'll be showing you how Node.js can be consumed as a UI element, also as a server side like page development, like where I'll be adding a HTML page, and I'll be just putting some data actions into that, and I'll show you like how it is calling the databases and all. What will I do is I'll also try to create one Postgres database, and I'll try to connect it. I'll at least show you a database how to connect it, and how can you run an HTML5 application top of this like a Node.js layer, and do a small get call or something. Then you'll get a proper flavor how Node.js can be utilized in your actual use case.
Yeah, that would be
There,
fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay, Rahul.
okay. So I think anyway we've crossed the time. So okay, so I'm just stopping the recording. So anyway, so just go through. I'll sending the document to you. At least do the setup for the Node.js and CLI. Then actually we'll again do some enhancement onto this. Then we'll just do the final the Fury element based on. Because Fury elements based on will be very really easy. Actually, it will not be time taking much time. That is all about configuration, not require much coding. We'll go through that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's it. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Anyway, again cross the time. So